Well, for the first few years, it was quite easy. As Justin was trying to learn our business and develop his own network. And because his background in marketing and sales is very easy for him to master his craft. Later on, as he became more and more confident and then fine-tuning his skills, I think at that point the biggest challenge for me is to know when to let go. Fortunately, by nature, I'm a lazy person. So before I know it, he's already running the company. Okay. At least from my standpoint, the relationship I have with Justin is almost like a close friend. I never had a relationship with my dad. Okay, it's always I do what he tells me to do and never really get into any intimate conversation. But with Justin, I felt that we can talk about anything. Okay, at least from my point of view, you're a close friend of mine.
At first, it was terrifying. Coming from my experience and excelling in my last industry, and then having to start over and be humble. I didn't know what it would be like to join a new family dynamic, a family-run business. It was challenging at first. My dad always told me, "Don't do what I do what I say," and that's not something I'm used to. But I found that if I followed what he did, I actually accomplished more, and because he actually is really good at what he does. When I think back about working with my dad, he really is one of the greatest mentors to me. And that's something that was special, to be able to have someone I worked with so closely and mentor me in a business that I didn't really know. And so I needed to learn, and he was willing to teach me, and it was a wonderful experience. I remember back, and I think back to the last few years, about a year or two into working with my dad, we had just finished a client meeting. And he pulled me aside and he said, "Justin, when we're in a meeting together, the client or the person in the meeting is not looking at you, is not listening to you, he's only listening to me. Which means I'm giving you a disservice. I'm doing you a disservice because I'm not letting you do what you need to do." Now, for someone like my dad, accomplished in this industry for a long time, to understand and realize that, that is enlightenment, right? That's empowering. And I always kept that close to my heart, and I realized that what my dad just talked about right now, about stepping out of the way, is having the ability to do that is one of the greatest things that you could do as a founder, a former business owner, to be able to give me, my space to be able to grow this business. But in the end, working with my parents, having the honor to work with my parents has been one of the greatest things in my life, because I get to see them every day. And just like my dad said, I think we developed a great friendship over the last decade, which I can't ask for anything better than that.
Hi. Seriously, Justin has developed a grand vision what he wants Apeiron to be, okay? And I bought into that vision. My job is to make sure that I stay out of the way, okay? But be available in case he needs some help. But I don't really expect him to want any help from me anymore. So I know he's going to do well.
So when my dad tells me he bought into my grand vision, I had to sell it a long time. He bought into it, but he challenged me, which was wonderful. But when it comes to my dad's expectations or my mom's expectations, if they had told me that I met their expectations, then I knew, or I would know, they don't really think that highly of me. So both my mom and my dad have ever increasing expectations, which for me is great because it challenges me to think, to do better, to help grow this company, to accomplish more. And that's one of the great things that I can take from it, is that they're willing to challenge and empower us, empower me. If they didn't, then what's the point? So we've taken that with this company now and are looking to do more and bigger things. And as long as we have the values that my mom and dad have taught me and have brought to this company, then I know we're doing the right thing as we grow.
No. I think in retrospect, I purposely kept the company small because before I joined the company, I used to have responsible for 2,000 people, and I do not enjoy that. So I purposely kept the company small, not wanting to pass it on to to my children. But Justin really wanted to join the company. Okay, after many years, given the fact that he's been trained outside in terms of marketing and sales, we finally say, come on, join us. In retrospect, I'm glad I did. It was the right decision. One big word, relief, for me. And I feel sorry for him. As I told him one time, a true entrepreneur has to be able to meet his first payroll. Wow. He does have a lot of payroll to meet nowadays.
One, it feels great, obviously, but when you think about a family business and what it means and what it is, you really never take over a family business. We're just custodians of it. Right? There's no way to be able to continue the company in the same way that my parents had built it, or you don't know if you're doing it right. The only thing we can do is, like I said, take the values that they taught me as young, that they brought to the company, and continue to move forward using that as the foundation of the company. I'm extremely honored that my parents have allowed me to be at the helm as a second generation owner. But at the same time, I feel this great responsibility that is on my shoulders, because we have to do it right. We have to, I have to make sure that what we build and where we grow pays honor and respect to what they've built. And that always weighs on me. But at the same time, where my parents came from, where they grew up, how they grew up when they started this company, in the times that they did, they're very different than how I grew up, how this company is operating in the current challenges in the market today. So like I said, the only thing I can do is go back to the values and continue to build the company, and hoping that we stay to that and pay honor to what they worked so hard to bring to us. I've always wanted to be part of it, that's for certain. When I left university, I flew back to Seattle. I asked to join the company, and they said no. So then I followed my own career. Then 5 years later, I asked again, can I join the company, please? And they said no again. 3 more years after that, I asked to join the company, and they finally said yes, which was amazing. And then a month later, they said no. And then I had to go back to finding my own job. But then later on, about 11 years ago, my dad came to me and said, Justin, are you ready? It's going to be difficult. Are you up for it? And I jumped in without hesitation, and I never looked back. And I'm so happy I took this leap. Not only because it's a great organization to be a part of, but once again, I also had a chance to work with my parents closely, which I never had that. And to be able to have these moments like this is priceless. My experience growing up in Apeiron was different because my parents started this firm much later in life. It was their second career. So actually I was in university when this company was started. So having to go over or talk about those experiences growing up, and it was very different because while they involved me when they needed to, I never really grew up with Apeiron as being our company. My parents have always been incredibly entrepreneurial. I can remember since very, very young, every single time my dad came home, he would come home with a new business idea. He would be working on something on the side. He'd be building something. I mean, this is a true entrepreneurial mindset, which is something you can't, I guess you could teach it, but you can't really teach it. It has to be in you in many ways. And, from very young, they told me stories. They've started up car polishing detail companies, multiple restaurants. They even started a computer leasing and software company in the early 90s. I mean, this is extremely way ahead of their times. They were just in many ways like visionaries in terms of where they thought the business was going. And so growing up with that as my mentorship, as that that environment in which we can teach and learn, it was incredible, and it inspired me to follow a career and go into university studying entrepreneurship, making sure that at some point I'll be able to run my own business or be responsible for a business. And so it's been quite a ride. But so I have to thank you, Dad and Mom, for giving me that opportunity.
Oh, you deserve it.
Thanks.